Good evening and welcome to this evening's cruise chat. We are Vacations for Canadians and we are here to welcome you to a fantastic evening ahead where we've got Luke who's going to be talking to us about some facts and myths about cruising. So we're Vacations for Canadians and we have a great Facebook and online presence. We're your cruise experts and we're here to share a few tips and tricks along the way. And we do invite you to engage with us and ask us questions. We've got a great panel this evening. We've got Trisha at the bottom there. Welcome, Trisha. We've got our presenter, Luke, and we've got our other host, Linda. So welcome to all of you this evening. We're going to turn things over to Luke to get things started. You know, he's got some really interesting things he wants to share, some facts and myths about cruising. So over to you, Luke.
Excellent. Thanks, Karen, and welcome. And tonight, I guess this is our welcome. All right, facts and myths. Hopefully you guys can hear me well, loud and clear. I'm having a little bit of a challenge with my microphone tonight, trying a new headset. Facts. Let's dive into this. I have top 25 cruise myths that we're going to bust tonight. Hopefully, this will be educational for all of you. Maybe you'll learn something. I know I did going through this list, even though that's what we do here at Vacations for Canadians is talk about cruising. But there makes you think about certain myths and some of the topics. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with our first five, if you want. And bear with me here. I have the information on my other screen, and we'll talk about it. So the first one, and these are not in any order based on top 5, top 10, top 25. They're just the top 25 that I found in no particular order. So we'll start with number 1. Cruise are only for old people. Now, maybe this was the case maybe 25, 30, 40 years ago, but in today's age, cruising is for everyone because different ships have different um, activities, events, and shows that cater to just about everybody. You know, you hear about Royal Caribbean being the fun ships in terms of, they have water slides and they tend to bring out some of the new things that have never been on a cruise ship before. Water slide, zip line, rock climbing wall has been probably one of the oldest type of activities on the ship, mini putt and that kind of stuff. So there is no such thing as being too old to cruise. Actually, the demographic of people cruising today are a lot younger than maybe 30 years ago. Our number 2, cruises are expensive. Well, in some cases, cruising can be a little more expensive, especially if you go into the luxury side of things. But again, here at Vacations for Canadians, we can help you find a deal on that side. But in general, if you were to book your flight and then book a hotel at a specific destination, and then you paid for evening entertainment, and you add your food, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, your evening snacks, you add your alcohol packages and Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. Typically, cruise ships or taking a cruise can actually definitely be cheaper than bundling all of this other stuff individually, and then could be a lot more expensive. Number 3, I'll get seasick. Well, new and modern ships are designed, whether it's part of the hull. Many of them have stabilizers, which they can utilize at any point when seas can become a little rough. And there are different types of medication that you can acquire. They're either patches behind the ear. Some people have patches on their shoulder. I've noticed lately that people are wearing wristbands that have some kind of chemical that releases right in the palm in the wrist of your hand. And there's obviously other types of over-the-counter medication you can take to offset that. But that doesn't mean that a cruise is equal to having to take this medication to prevent yourself from being sick. I've been on many cruises, and there's only one time where the seas were a little rough, and one of us got sick. And other than that, it's been some pretty smooth sailing. My next one. Cruises are just for partying. Well, no, cruising can be a party ship. So if you can go on those party ships that are designed for, a younger demographic that like to party, and the poolside activities where you see them on movies and videos and all kinds of stuff. But also there are cruise ships that are more towards, maybe the adults only, like Virgin. You have Holland America, you have Celebrity, you have different levels of or different categories of cruise lines or cruise ships that cater for different types of people. So yes, you can party as much as you want, but you can also relax as much as you want. Um, there's nothing to do on a sea day. Well, I beg to differ because there is a ton of activities on sea days. If you take a transatlantic, for instance, where maybe the majority of your cruise itinerary is at sea, there's many activities. There's entertainment. There's comedians. There's poolside shows. There's different venues that cater to maybe karaoke, or they have bands. There's always something to do on a ship. Other thing too is that cruise ship is kind of like that, can also be that relaxation where you pull up a lawn chair, and um, you get a nice get a little bit of sun, do some sun tanning, relaxing, reading a book by the pool. Yes, there's definitely plenty of stuff to do, and again, as I said earlier, there's plenty of activities to do on a ship. Whether you want to sign up for rock climbing, or if the ship that you're going on has slides or water slides or dry slides, there's all kinds of stuff you can do on a ship, and you could spend 7 days on a ship and not do the same activity twice. Our next one, I'm just going to move slides here. There we go. The food is all buffet. Well, cruise ships will definitely spoil you, because most cruise ships have a main dining room. Some of them have a multi-level dining room depending on the size of the ship. So you have the opportunity of having breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the main dining room. Obviously, there's the buffet. The buffet has rotational food where they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner as well. But also there's what we call a la carte restaurants, restaurants where you pay a bit of a premium and you go to a steakhouse, an Italian restaurant. It all depends on the ship that you're on what they have available. But there are some ships that have, two or three um, um, a la carte dining restaurants, and some of them it could be up to 15 or 20 different restaurants that you can try throughout your vacation. Um, Number 7, all cruise ships are the same. All cruise ships are not the same. Regardless of what cruise line you go to, whether it's Celebrity or Norwegian or Princess, there are smaller ships that cater to um, certain type of activities, where you can go on ships like Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas or Star of the Seas that have just about every bell and whistle that you can find, and keep your family and even yourself entertained with all the activities that are going that are happening on the ship themselves. So no, not all cruise ships are created equal. Number 8, you have to dress up every night. Yes, there are cruise lines out there where you have to dress up and pull out the tuxedo and the suit and tie every night. But then again, there's cruise lines that they have formal nights is what they call them, but it's dress your best. So if you decide tonight you're not wearing the tuxedo and you want to wear a button-up shirt with a tie and or a nice cocktail dress, whatever it may be, or you just want to go in, your just dress pants and a collared shirt, that's acceptable as well. So no, yes, some people do go on cruise ships to dress up because it's maybe the only opportunity they have in their day-to-day life to be able to, dress up and stand out and that kind of stuff. But no, you dress the way you want on a cruise ship. Yes, there are certain things where you're not supposed to wear flip flops and shorts into the main dining room. But again, you don't have to pull out your tux for going to dining or the different events in the evening every single night. Cabins are tiny and uncomfortable. Um, Yeah, maybe some of the cruise ships that were designed many, many, many years ago had smaller cabins, like maybe on the Titanic, they had small cabins. But in today's cruise ships, they're well designed. They cater to families, so you can have cabins that are designed for 2, 3, 4 people. There are some that cater to a family of 5. And then if you move into a suite, which some of them are actually pretty sweet, some of them have like a slide to go from the second floor to the main level for the kids and that kind of stuff. So no, that one I'll call it busted as well, because cruise ships today have rooms that are cater to your family or to yourself or as a couple, or you want to cruise. Even though here's another example, there are cruise ships that have cabins that are designed for solo travelers. So there's cabins of various sizes to meet your needs. um, Number 10, this one I'll call it busted, but in the same token, I've been guilty of this one. You'll gain a ton of weight while on a cruise. So even though it's you can call it busted in a sense, because of the abundance of food, but also all the activities you go on, going into port and doing all the activities on and off the ship. At some point, depending, because the restaurants are there to attract you to eat their food, and the buffet is always a few steps away, particularly on sea days. I tend to definitely gain a few pounds while on a cruise. So I'll call that one busted, but it's also a myth as well. Number 11. So let's change our slide again. Let me see if this works. This works. Perfect. All right. Cruises are boring for kids. Uh, that one, let's call it busted as well, because if you look at cruise ships like the Oasis class on Royal Caribbean, that has water slides and water parks and all kinds of activities for children, and even if you look at Norwegian Escape and even some of the Princess cruises, they are designed to cater for children. Every cruise line, for the most part, unless you go into luxury and that kind of stuff, they have kids activities. They have kids um, sections on the ship that are kids adventure parks and all kinds of stuff there, where they can do arts and crafts and that kind of stuff. So yes, they do cater to kids. So to say that kids will be bored on a cruise ship, I don't think so, because I've actually taken my kids on a cruise, and needless to say, I don't think I saw them for almost a whole week, except that during our meals and making sure they were tucked in bed at night when they had their curfew. Number 12, you have to book an excursion through the cruise ship. Again, this one, yes, the cruise ships do offer excursions. The excursions have been pre-vetted by the cruise lines themselves. They do come with some additional perks where they walk you off the ship. They make sure you get on the tour bus if that's the type of tour you actually took. They drive you to your tour destination. They bring you back to the ship. They make sure you get back on board. But also there's other expedition or excursion companies out there that cater to the cruise industry. And we do have some pre-vetted tour operators that you can find on Vacations for Canadians, or just reach out to one of us, and we can help you find like a third party excursion if you'd like. but no, you are not limited to an excursion through the cruise ship. Number 13, cruises are unsafe. Um, that one I'll call busted as well because most cruise ships have security on board. They're the police of the cruise ship itself. If there's any issues, security will be called, and they will evaluate each situation one-on-one, whether it's a theft or an assault or whatever it may be. Rest assured that the cruise lines take the clients and their passengers' safety very seriously, and they have a lot of precautions put in place to make sure everyone is safe. Most ships today have video surveillance cameras everywhere, hallways, main venues and stuff. So there's always someone watching to make sure that their passengers are safe. Number 14, you'll be nickel and dime for everything. I guess this one here, it all depends on how you look at it. So if you book your cruise and you didn't buy a drink package, or your fare didn't come with a drink package, yes, if you want a drink package, it will be at an additional fee based on the cruise line. If you want Wi-Fi, that's extra. But to say that you're nickel and dimed, it's based on, you can literally book a cruise today with us, get on the ship, and get off the ship, and there's no additional cost other than your common costs, such as your gratuities, which some cruise lines will charge your account, your onboard account, on a daily basis, or you can prepay them in advance. So that way, you can eliminate the additional charges while you're on the ship. So basically, you can actually get on the ship, take advantage of what the amenities that a ship has, and get off, and your account, your ship account will be zero. So there's no cost. Anything you want to purchase on top of that is your personal decision. Now, that being said, there are cruise lines that offer packages. So if you want a Wi-Fi package, you want a drink package, or you want a form of a la carte or specialty dining package, like Royal Caribbean, for instance, you can buy a 3 specialty dining package or the unlimited. So, but those are decisions you make, and they come at additional cost. That's a personal decision. Number 15,
Luke, I
cruise
just
ships.
sorry, I don't want to stop you, but we
Sure,
did get a question about one of your myths.
sure.
So Megan asked, is it true that by booking excursions through the ship, they have to wait for you if the excursion is delayed?
That is a very good question, Megan. Yes, so it's a tricky question, but in theory, you're right. So if you buy an excursion, let's say from Celebrity, and your excursion is on a tour bus, it's a 4-hour tour, and something was to happen. Um, because you've booked with the cruise line, first they know where you are because you've actually bought it through them. So they know you're on that particular bus and not venturing off on your own through visiting the port of call. And let's say something happened to that tour bus, the cruise lines would be notified, and they would work with the tour operator to make sure that you get back on the ship. And in the event that you would be, let's say 15 minutes late from the ship actually leaving port, they will wait. They do have a window that they're allowed to wait. If not, let's say that they can't get you to the ship on time, then the cruise line will work with that tour operator to either get you to the next port or find a solution for you on getting you back home safely. So that's the difference between buying your excursion through the cruise line. There is some form of guarantee that they will do whatever they can to get you on the ship, versus buying your excursion from a third party, which they're not. They haven't been pre-vetted, so they don't have a way to contact the cruise line to have them wait for you. So yes, to me personally, I purchase most of my excursions through the cruise lines directly for that particular reason. All right. Number 15, cruise ships are bad for the environment. Cruise ships today use cleaner fuel, so you'll probably hear through in the news and advertisements from various cruise lines that they're migrating or they're building new ships using new technology such as LNG, which is the liquid natural gas versus the diesel that they currently use on many of the older ships. Many of the cities or the ports that the cruise ships actually dock in now require that some of the cruise lines connect to shore power. So by connecting to shore power, it's kind of like that extension cord where the ship pulls into port. They plug into shore power, and that way they can shut down a lot of their engines to save on the environment. Also, a lot of the cruise lines are mandated, some of them are self-mandated because they try to meet world environment laws and environmental laws, and they recycle all their cardboard, their plastic, their the glass and everything else. Many ships today actually convert salt water to, they desalinate water. They use water, they filter it and clean it and disinfect the wastewater before releasing it back into the ocean to meet environmental laws. So yes, the ships today aren't bad for the environment because they're doing a lot to contribute to recycling and making sure their wastewater is treated properly and so on. Our next slide here. Wi-Fi is non-existent or unaffordable. Most of the cruise ships, probably over the last, I'll say 2 to 3 years, many of them have actually moved to Starlink. Starlink is a satellite-based internet provider. We use Starlink here at home, and the Wi-Fi and the internet, if you want, is a lot better than it used to be. When I go on a cruise ship, I continue to work. I do work while I'm on a cruise ship to make sure I meet all my clients' demands and needs. And I've used the Wi-Fi, I've streamed videos, and I've had no issues whatsoever. As far as unaffordability, given the fact that you're on a cruise ship and that if you were to turn on your cell phone, and the cost of doing that would be extremely expensive. I think sometimes you can buy Wi-Fi packages at a decent rate, especially when they go on sale. Many cruise lines offer either Wi-Fi as part of your package. Some of them give you basic Wi-Fi, which you can upgrade to for a minimal cost. And then there are some where Wi-Fi is an additional cost, and the cost per device is actually pretty cheap. It's actually not that expensive. Number 17, cruises are only for couples and families. Well, like I said earlier, we are seeing more and more solo travelers wanting to get on a cruise. They want to travel solo. Sometimes they travel with friends. So for that particular myth, I call this one busted because yes, you can travel as a solo traveler. You can travel as a couple. You can travel as a family. You can organize groups, which we can help you do, where you may have 4 or 5 different groups of friends that want to go, and you need 3 or 4 or 5 cabins or even more. So it caters to a lot of people. So it's not just for couples and family. It's for singles, couples, families, friends, groups, organizations. It caters to a large demographic of individuals. Number 18, if you miss the ship, you're stranded. That one is hard to answer because yes, if you get off the ship and you're walking through the port and you lose track of time, Yes, there's a possibility that you'll get stranded in a sense because the cruise ship can only wait for so long. They have they pay a fee to be docked in many ports, and the longer they stay, then there's a penalty if they exceed. And at some point, they based on marine laws, they do have to leave. But to my point earlier, if you purchase your excursion through the cruise line, you have some form of a guarantee to either get you back on the ship because it'll wait a little longer, or they'll make sure you get to the next port, or they'll make sure you get home safely. Number 19, cruises are too crowded. Yes, there are cruise ships that can cater to 4,000, 5,000 people, but those ships are huge. They're humongous. They're designed to be able to accommodate a lot of people without making it feel crowded. I think, based on my experience, the only place I've ever been on a ship that has been extremely crowded is usually at the buffet at 9 o'clock in the morning. If you go to the buffet at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're guaranteed that it'll feel crowded. It'll feel like there's a lot of people. But walking around the ship and going to some of the events and some of the activities around the ship, they're designed to cater to 4,000 people or 4,000, 5,000 people, or even a ship that's only designed for 1,800 people. They do cater to that, and the ships are designed to be able to accommodate that volume of people, but also there's all these little spots on the ship that you can go and grab a chair and read a book on a sea day and that kind of stuff. So most cruise ships don't make you feel like you're crowded, of course, except for the buffet. And number 20, the ship will leave you behind if you're late. Again, it goes to two of my previous points. Yes, if you're on a ship-sponsored excursion, they'll make sure you're on the ship. And if you are late because you're venturing on your own, there's a chance that you may be left behind. But the cruise lines will do whatever they can to hold back. All right, and second last slide here. We're getting close to the end of our top 25. Cruises are for people who love to drink. Well, I guess this depends on who you talk to. There are many of our travelers don't drink at all. They don't want a drink package included with their cruise. So yes, as I stipulated at some point at the beginning of my presentation here, is there are party ships, and usually party ships, a lot of people will drink, and after a couple of drinks, that's where the behavior of some people will come out. In a sense, some people get really funny, and some, well, not so much. But no, cruise ships aren't designed for drinking, but drinking is allowed if you get a drink package, and so on. Number 22, the crew doesn't care about passengers. This is by far the most busted top 25 that I have here. In my experience, and in many of my clients' experience, this is by far opposite to this point. Crew members bend over backwards to make sure that you are having a great time, that you're having an amazing experience. Whether it's your room steward that makes sure your room is clean, and that they do those towel animals and all kinds of stuff, and they'll, if you need an extra pillow, next thing you know, your pillow's in your room. Your main dining room staff will bend over backwards to make sure they cater to maybe some of your dietary needs that you have or allergies, and they will work with you on making sure that you have the best experience ever. And I don't know if anyone's ever been to customer service. My experience with customer service has always been outstanding. Even with the most complicated question, they will they will definitely work really hard at making sure that everyone is satisfied. Number 23, you can't cruise if you have a dietary restriction. That one, I would have to say, is busted. And because of that, the reason I say that is if you go to a buffet, they have a section, for those that are vegetarians, or they even cater to people that have allergies. And if you have allergies, one, you can mention it to us during your booking, and we will put a note on your account and make sure that the cruise line is aware of your dietary restriction. But also, um, I've actually seen situations where um, a chef or a dining staff was approached with a particular um, dietary restriction, and they went into the kitchen and made them a particular meal that they'd be able to eat. The second thing too is once they know this, they will bring you a menu for for the next evening or for the next day, and they'll ask you, here's what's on the menu for tomorrow, and they will make sure that they can accommodate you even the day before in anticipation um, for your food allergies. Number 24, cruises are COVID hotspots. Well, we've learned that at the beginning of the COVID pandemic that cruise ships were unsanitary, and obviously the cruise line, I forget which cruise line it was, that um, many hundreds of people on that cruise got sick with COVID-19. Since then, major protocols across all cruise lines have put protocols in place where um, ships are cleaned regularly. They've changed even the types of cleaners they use to disinfect and clean the ships. I had a customer that just got off a ship from last week. She was worried about a virus that was on the sailing prior, and she said they bent over backwards to make sure people were comfortable, that the sanitary protocols were that much more strict than they were before to make sure the ship was cleaned even before they got on the ship. So the passengers from the previous week got off, they got on. There was a period of time they wouldn't allow anybody on the ship until they did a complete disinfection of the major areas, and then passengers were allowed to board for their sailing. So they do work hard at making sure that the ships are clean. And the last one is it's cheaper to book last minute. Well, we know in today's cruise industry is that last minute deals are becoming harder and harder to find because people tend to want to book early so they get the a better selection of cabins. They may take advantage of some of the exclusive rates that we have slash group rates. They want to be able to pick the right ship, they want the right cabin and so on. So booking early is the best time to do that. Secondly is if there is a price drop after you book your ship or book your cruise, then we can have it repriced for you. But I think last minute bookings, particularly with cruise ships, are becoming harder and harder to find because people like to book ahead and make sure um, that they have the choice of booking early. My last slide here is I have a bonus myth, and Vacations for Canadian doesn't offer online booking. Well, I'm going to see if I can actually share it, and please bear with me here. I was going to take you to our website, and if not, I can explain it. Let me see here. I lost my mouse. Hello. All right, there it is. Can you guys see my screen here? I'm going to share my desktop. Present. Share my screen.
We had it before there, Luke.
This one here. There. All right. So I'm gonna bust the theory around Vacations for Canadians does not offer online booking. Right on our website, Vacations for Canadians. Right up here on the main toolbar, you'll have there you go, booking online. You can either book ocean cruises or river cruises. So if you click on the ocean cruise, you're presented with a search engine where you can search by cruise line. I'm gonna wait for it refreshes. Sorry, it's probably my internet's a little slow. Here you can search for the dates you're looking for based on maybe you have a week or two vacation in July. So you would select your dates, select the destination you want to go to, cruise line, if you know what ship you'd like, or you can leave those blank. And then at the bottom, there's a search function. You can click and find the cruise you want, pick your cabin, pick your cabin for your travel party, and then there's a button at the bottom that's during one of the processes where you can book your cruise directly with Vacations for Canadians. And once you're booked with booked your cruise, it will either get assigned to your current Vacations for Canadian travel agent, or one will be assigned to you to make sure that your booking gets completed properly, and that if you have any questions, they can answer your questions. So there you go. There's my top 25 with my bonus Mythbusters, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll give it back to Karen.
Thank you, Luke. That was great. There was a lot of really great nuggets in there. I especially enjoyed when you're talking about the sea days and how it could be boring. Well, for me, I really love a port intensive itinerary where you see a lot of things. That's why I'm on a cruise. But I always look for ones that have some anchor port sea days at the beginning to really relax and unwind, and then one at the end to catch my breath a little bit before I come back into the the usual home stuff. So to me, part of the goal is to get bored, because it's a real luxury to be able to just say that you've got nothing you need to do, no place you need to be. It's quite an indulgent feeling. I love that. And another thing that I was thinking about too is booking early, because I was working with a customer today who was looking for a summer vacation to Alaska. And I thought, okay, July, August, that feels like a lifetime away, right? We're, in the thick of the snow. We're still dreaming about that sunshine. And I had a hard time finding them some cruises that had availability. So it's quite interesting how you're right. People are thinking like 2026, 2027. And while we can still get you on a ship these days, it's a little bit more difficult. And the deals are kind of a little further out. So I'm glad you mentioned that as well for people who are thinking about it. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Linda, have we got any questions that we for the panel?
We do. We have quite a few questions. I'm going to start working from them. So thank you for people who have been commenting and asking questions. So this one, they made a comment, and I thought maybe our experienced panel could just speak to this. So when we were talking about the size of ships and them being crowded, Kate said 4,000 with the tender port. So did you like my little so maybe if you guys could just sort of speak to how that works, and if it really is maybe Luke, since you're the Mythbuster, do you want to start with that? We can go to Rick and Trisha and then Karen.
Sure. Once the ship has, I'll call it docked, but once it's anchored, this is when they bring out the tender boats, and the first people to get off usually are those that have an excursion booked. So those people will get off first, and then it's for everybody else to line up and get off the ship. Yes, tenders can be a little busy, particularly the first two or three that actually do leave the ship to go into port. And a lot of times, kind of like at the tail end, if they say that, all aboard at 4 o'clock and you show up at the pier at 3:30, yeah, that last half an hour you might be standing in a long lineup, and it can be a little chaotic. But for the most part, if you don't have an excursion booked, you're just going into port to just chill out, walk around, maybe see what kind of shops are there. Just sit back, relax, just grab yourself a drink, or grab yourself your book, and just wait it out a little bit, and then get off the ship and have fun, and try not to grab that last, what they call the last 10 back. That one can be a little chaotic, but that's my view on it.
Rick, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. I'll just go next. I find the tender process has gotten a lot better over the years. I find it very well organized now, and the waits are very manageable. So some of them, it's first come, first served. You get in line. Some of them, you get a number and you board the tender. Occasionally, you'll get a long lineup, especially when getting back onto the ship. I remember once in Cayman, I have a picture. It's amazing. It's a huge line we were in, but it moved, and it was surprisingly fast. But first time you get into line, it's a little daunting. But that was one bad experience. But other than that, they've all been good with us.
Tricia, anything you'd like to add to that?
Just kind of following up with both what the guys have said. The staff do this every week, so they've got this down pat. They are organized. They get you where you need to be. It's amazing how operations get everybody where they need to be when they need to be there. So a tender port doesn't scare me at all.
Fearless.
And Karen, last thoughts on that? Any?
I was just echoing what Rick was saying about the lineup sometimes. So we were at Great Stirrup Cay, Norwegian's private island, in November. And when we were heading back, we had plenty of time, mind you, but the lineup was atrocious. And we thought, oh, we need to pack snacks here because it was really winding all through the way. But it was really quite remarkable how quickly we got onto that tender and got back on the ship. It was amazing. And they did actually hand out snacks and water and all that kind of stuff as well for people waiting in line. So it was a big win.
Awesome. All right. Well, hopefully it means that tender ports with 4,000 people are not. All right. So next question comes to us from Eleanor. And she said, have you heard anything more about Celebrity River Cruises? Saw information today, but I could not find out if you would get a new Captain's Club number or use your existing. Instead of going round robin on this, I'll just ask if anyone knows. Rick had his hand up there, so I'll give this one to Rick.
I think it's a bit early to get more detail on the Celebrity. They just announced it, and the ships are being constructed still. So it's going to be a slow launch. What I read is there's going to be like one ship at the beginning, a couple of ships after that. You compare that to some of the more established river cruises where they have, I don't even know how many ships they have. They have a sailing almost every day or every other day. So it's going to take them time to develop that product line. But knowing Celebrity, they're going to do it very well. Don't know anything about Captain's Club number, but I would suspect if it carries the name of Celebrity, it's going to share the Captain's Club number. That's just my guess.
Great. All right. And I will say, as soon as we hear, we will be sure to share any information that we have with you through our social media channels, our website, and also through our e-news. So lots of ways to hear from us about what's going on with that and any other cruise lines. Okay, so next question comes to us from Noor asking, is balcony worth it or ocean view is fine? So let's start at the top this time with Karen, and maybe you can give some insights here.
Sure. My first many cruises, I actually did an interior cabin because I just wanted to go as many places as I could, and it was budget friendly. I then have since upgraded to a balcony, and it's hard to go backwards, but it is possible. So I do weigh out the itinerary a little bit to see if it makes a difference, because if it's something scenic where I want to actually see the sail in, that's something I would consider. The other thing I would factor in is who you're traveling with. So if you're traveling with maybe young children who might have an early bedtime, it's a little bit easier to sit on your balcony and enjoy that, have a glass of wine or something out there while the kids are sleeping versus sitting there in an interior room where you're just kind of watching them snore. So I think it really does depend on where you're traveling and who you're traveling with.
Okay, Luke, anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, yeah. If you ask my wife, it's definitely a balcony because, as Karen pointed out, we don't have any young children, but for her, it's kind of like the place where she goes and unwinds after, a busy day on the ship or busy day in port. In the evening after the shows, she likes to grab herself a glass of wine, go sit on the deck, take advantage of she loves the sound of the ocean. So for her, she often says, whatever it costs, put me on a balcony. Don't shove me into a cabin where I can't enjoy my balcony. But I've done an inside, I've done ocean view, and to me, I like doing activities throughout the ship, whether it's comedy club, going to watch karaoke or the entertainment on the ship, meeting new people on the ship and having a drink. For me, the cabin is somewhere where I just go crash, take a shower, and back at it the next day. So it all depends on your personal preference.
Rick, your thoughts?
Yeah, it really is a personal preference, as Luke just said. And sometimes I find that if it's a price issue, I'm finding more and more that there's not as much difference in price in the balconies versus the ocean views. So really, we don't mind asking and researching it for you guys. Ask us for both, and we'll get you the price for both. You can compare for yourself and take what's the best decision for you. That's the best way to do it. And if you have young kids, some people don't want the kids to be able to go out on the balcony. That's another factor. So there's many thought processes that come into play here. So choose what's best for you.
And Trish?
Sorry. No, it's okay. I'm along the same lines as Luke's wife. I enjoy winding down, actually starting my day. I am married to a smoker, so he tends to take our Yetis. He goes to get us coffee. He has his first cigarette upstairs, and then he brings our coffee back, and we wake up on the deck together on the balcony. That gives us time to, wake up slowly, watch the sunrise. Sometimes we're up that early. But it's also very nice at the end of the day to sit out there, just listen to the waves. I can just sit there, close my eyes, and listen to the waves. Especially on Virgin voyages where they have hammocks available on your balcony. So sitting out there, I almost fell asleep out there. It was so wonderful.
And I'm actually going to pop in on this one, and I'm going to share my screen. So this is from a blog I wrote because I was a first-time cruiser, and we had an ocean view. And actually, the window, I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's my daughter there. Excuse the room. I had 2 teenage girls, so that's pretty much how our room looked all the time. But that window was everybody's favorite spot, literally, like, both kids were fighting to sit in the window and look out the window and watch the waves go by, and when we were in port and that sort of thing. So we really didn't feel like we were missing out by not having a balcony. Now, I haven't had one before because that was our first cruise, but I would say that the ocean view was really great and everybody enjoyed it, and we didn't feel like claustrophobic or anything, like we needed to get air or anything like that. So I would also say ocean view is actually pretty great. And I'm just looking to see if we've had any more questions come in. First time traveling, okay. So Benjamin says, hold on, you have to tender to Norwegian private island? Karen, is that the facts?
It is a fact.
Or is that a myth?
No, it's for real. But I'll tell you, it's the best way to get a great picture of your ship when you're on that tender coming in and out. So that is the big bonus to that piece, but you do have to tender in. the way that it's designed, they can't come closer to the ship, or closer to the shore, I should say.
But even islands like Grand Cayman, I mean, it's a full tendered destination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just a couple of comments and things along the way here. So Benjamin said, I thought she was going to say to have a smoke on the balcony, LMAO. And but then Noor says you can't. So I'm assuming that is in respect to smoking. So just if anybody wants to chime in on that as far as how smoking works on a cruise ship.
Yes. I have friends that smoke, but also it's a new law or new policy that many cruise lines have adapted. I think it was in the mid 2000s. There was a ship that caught on fire because somebody flicked their cigarette off their balcony and then landed on a balcony below and set fire to the ship. Ever since then, smoking on a balcony or in non-designated areas actually illegal on a cruise ship. Cruise ships do cater to smokers. There's sections in, let's say, the casino. Casinos, many ships have now reduced the smoking section. Some have actually banned it, but usually there's 2 or 3 spots on each cruise ship that have designated smoking area.
Great, thank you for that.
Hey, Linda, I think you missed a question from Noor.
Oh, okay.
Is there a discount on the website?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yep, you're right. So is there any discount on the website? So if you want, I can answer this one. I actually spend a lot of time on there. So if you're talking about booking online, so any of the promotions that we have available to Vacations for Canadians will also be available on the website. So you'll be able to see them right there, what's available to you. So the difference between either booking online on our website or booking with a travel agent doesn't really change your pricing or your promotions or anything like that. It's more of a personal preference if you're the kind of person who likes to go on and browse through, different itineraries, different ships, different things, and just take care of it and maybe not talk to anybody. Then booking online can be, if you want to do it at 3 a.m. and there's no one to answer your call at that time, have at it, and you'll get the same offers that we can get for you in person. The difference between us and any of those other sort of online agencies are that you'll get assigned an agent if you don't already have one with Vacations for Canadians. So once you've booked, you'll have someone who can help you if you have questions about your cruise. If there's, say for instance, as they were saying, if there's a change in price, they'll be able to assist you with that. They'll, if you don't understand something about the online booking process, or if there was anything that got missed or any glitches, then they can help you with that as well. So there's not necessarily a discount for booking on the website, but there's no additional charge to use one of our agents, and there's no additional charge to book on the website, and all the promotions are the same all the way across the board.
And Linda, I'll add a little bit to that too, is that you can actually use our booking tool to find the perfect cruise for yourself. And once you have it, if you don't feel comfortable clicking the your booking button, so book now, you can actually grab that information that you did, the ship, the itinerary, the price that you saw, and you can contact either your current Vacations for Canadian agent, or you can contact one of us through our contact form. You can find that on the page. Pick the agent that that you want, and we will help you book it for you if you get nervous and you're not sure you want to click that button because you don't know what happens next. We're there to help you. And also at the bottom, at any point during your transaction, there's a contact an agent button there too. So.
And one last question from Noor, and I think that's going to wrap it up for this evening for questions, unless somebody has any last minute ones. When is the best time to travel to Europe or Turkey, for example, weather-wise? Don't want it to be too cold in general. So we have lots of agents here who have traveled to Europe. So do we want to start? We'll start with Rick this time. I know you've been to Europe quite a few times.
Yeah, I went Europe. We went last April, and some people might think that's early, but we had the most ideal weather to tour around. We weren't too hot, weren't too cold, super comfortable, no heavy, no coats, nothing. So we were fine. I saw the question in advance. I cheated. I Googled when's the best time to visit Turkey. And so while it says summer is a good time to visit, but the best time to visit Turkey is the spring, which for them is March to May, 10 degrees to 25 degrees, and low precipitation. So that's your time, Noor.
Any other agents have anything to add about heading to Europe, what their favorite time is?
Anytime's a good time to go, that's for sure.
Well, exactly.
I like that.
Just keep in mind that sometimes July and August can be fairly warm depending on where you go. So if you're escaping Canada's heat to go to Europe where it's a bit cooler, you may want to go, earlier on in the season and try to avoid July and August. But there is no bad time, as Karen said.
There's very few sailings in the winter months.
Right.
I think Celebrity Infinity will do it, but very few sailings because they're all over here in the Caribbean, the ships.
Great.
Okay.
So we've got our giveaway. So anybody who's commented is in the draw. Linda, what have we got tonight?
Well, so we've got a Vacations for Canadians water bottle. Very helpful for, if you have to wait for a tender, you'll have some water. And also very, very good for the recycling. So, overall, just a fantastic gift. And usually I do a random draw. But tonight I am just picking a winner because Benjamin has been making me laugh all night long. With his comments, and because I have to scroll back now to the one that I was like, I know Luke mentioned something about people thinking cruises could be dangerous, and then this is what Benjamin popped up there. Sometimes it's unsafe being married, and his wife is on this chat. So for those brave comments and all the fun comments tonight, Ben is our automatic winner. And Ben, I'll just put my email address in the comments, and you can send me an email with your mailing address so we can get that out to you.
Thank you. That's great. Congratulations, Ben, on that water bottle. You can bring it to the NCL private island when you join me on my hosted tour, or my hosted cruise, which I think you're considering. So that is a wrap for our Wednesday evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Luke, for presenting. A lot of great tips that we can now take away and tuck in our back pocket for our next cruise. We will be back next Wednesday. Linda, do we have our topic lined up for next week?
We do. I'm going to move ahead, and next week we're talking about cruising for military, and we have Matt presenting. So it's going to be all about offers and deals and special things that are done for the military and first responders on cruises.
That's amazing, because I did hear actually Virgin Voyages have just joined forces with that, and they're offering a new military discount. So perfect timing. So please do come back and join us next Wednesday at 7 p.m. We'll see you then. Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.